Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zach, and today of course we're looking at Ecomi and VeVe stuff as per usual on the channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button if you like to watch Ecomi videos, Ecomi videos and VeVe NFT stuff. Right now we're looking at the price, and of course right now we're on a down of 11.74%. We're on 0.002809. Honestly, throughout the entire time I've been making this channel, recording videos, etc., we've never really been in the twos too much, but we're on a low over the past 24 hours of 0.002764 and a high of 0.00337. Now, that obviously doesn't matter if anything. Obviously, y'all will know what to do with that information if you are enjoying Ecomi regardless. Having said that, there is something that has essentially become something big, something important throughout the community, which is some of David Yughioh's, who is of course the founder of Ecomi and VeVe, some of his previous work that of course can show us what we'll see later on in the future. That said, this was recorded in 2018, Cyberport, Hong Kong, at of course the NFT and Blockchain Gaming Conference and Hackathon 2018. Nifty. Let's jump straight into it.
The next speaker we've got is actually going to be talking about intellectual property and licensing. And this guy can talk a little bit about this because he started selling Pokemon cards in Newfoundland when he was 17 years old. I mean, I don't want to tell you the age, but it was 1998. He's been doing it for a long time. But it's not only fun and games with David, by the way. He also is known for possessing one of the most expensive whiskeys globally. If I'm not mistaken, it's Karizawa. That's the name he told me. He owns that whiskey. So you want to cozy up to this guy if you want to get a taste of that one, right?
So clearly David Yughioh is, damn, this guy's walking away. Man did not want to know about it. Yeah, that all had something to do, obviously. But David Yughioh obviously is a very well-accomplished person. Let's go into it.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna get through the opening slide.
David Yughioh, 3 years ago. Not even that long ago, realistically.
Yeah, so my name's David. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ecomi, and basically we are in the licensing, distribution, and digital via blockchain. So we're a new startup company. We've only been around for 18 months or so. So I'll give you a little bit of background what I have been doing prior to this. So I founded my first business in games and arts, basically in New Zealand, in 1997 when I was age of 17. And basically, this business was founded with my pocket money, with about $1,100, and I have brought to be the premier in the content and gaming industry in Australasia. Now we have offices all around the world, and we started to do trading cards, tabletop games, board game, role playing, and now we're moving into the digital realm. And in 2005, 2006, I thought, hey, one business is not enough. So I decided to start another business, and it's called Retail Management Group. So something different about Retail Management Group is that instead of being in the gaming, I use the skills that I have in licensing and brought and foster a lot of the brand into the Asia market region. So helping brands from food, milk, olive oil, wine, from different consumable industry and FMCG to take their brands all around the world into Asia. So that gives you a little bit background about what I've been doing, and I will tell you what I have been doing since 97. Many of you will know what this picture is. It's basically happy, cute little characters as Pokemon. What many of you probably will not understand or not know, Pokemon was originally landed in Japan. In Japan, they still call Pokemon as pocket monsters. It was in 96, 97, an American gentleman called Alfred Kahn. He bought the brand and the franchise everywhere outside of Japan and into the international market.
Okay, so my understanding is that Alfred Kahn is already with Ecomi now, so that shows you how important that is. And obviously Pokemon coming to VeVe is just literally just unannounced, but it's happening. It's just unannounced.
Pocket Monster was too hard for people to recognize what this property was, so he decided to call it Pokemon. The first product I bought into Asia and in New Zealand was trading card games. So I was the first one to cash in a way, in the phenomenon of the first major gaming franchise. Pokemon quickly became a very big property for our company, and it was a multi-million-dollar hit. And one of the things that I have learned is that apart from having a great brand, these are just characters like CryptoKitty. A CryptoKitty could be a multi-billion-dollar brand if you know how to foster your intellectual property going forward. Second property, 2002, I hit another jackpot, was Yugioh.
Oh, bloody hell.
It was a Japanese animation basically about trading card games. And we brought out the best product that could go with our product, and that is basically Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Jeez.
This property quickly rise and compete and grow the whole entire sector of the trading card market. What was once become a geeky thing, playing Magic the Gathering, trading cards, role-playing, tabletop, become quite cool because it hit the mass market. And that's where we see the NFT and the blockchain will slowly mature into this market. One of the things that I have learned about branding and licensing is one key aspect in the gaming. So in my retail shop, I have learned in 21 years is that when you come to my store at any one time, whether it's raining, stormy, sunny, you can meet someone in our store that speak the same language as you. So your kids can quickly learn and make friends because they speak similar language. They understand and they're in a similar hobby. So this is what we call the second secret. If you can touch your audience with your brand, with the second secret, which we all have, because I don't know what you do at home at your own leisure time. There's a lot of people who's into the gaming, cards, miniature game, online game. If you know what their second secret is, this will be where you need to target your brand into. Now, this is a vineyard basically in New Zealand, because I grew up in New Zealand. This is a beautiful Marlborough region in the South Island. One of the major problems in New Zealand is that we are isolated from the rest of the world. So branding New Zealand, apart from pure New Zealand, is that a lot of the product that we bring to the whole world needs to be rebranded to make the market work. So my company, Retail Management Group, basically decided to co-brand New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc with a bit of touch to touch the female market in the Chinese market. So we bought a more funky color, young, stylish to attract the female. This product basically hit the shelf and sold out in a matter of minutes, and this vintage continues to grow into China.
That's not Tokidoki,
and that's the power of cross-branding that you're doing with your brands to target the market and to change it a little bit different.
I think they're Itmos.
So today,
I might be wrong.
I'm going to be talking about the different medium of intellectual property. And one of the type is why do we need intellectual property and why is it important to you? And then I will be following on about licensing in the NFT market and where we are now and where we could be eventually. Now, let's have a talk about what is intellectual property. Most of us here at the NiftyCon or in the blockchain space, we are pretty much a new startup. We spend a lot of time in trying to do things, and we try to raise money to spend on things that we do. But the great idea that we have, most of us, we've hardly protected. From the most basic things that we don't even take into account is they are all intellectual property. So why don't we protect our intellectual property? Intellectual property can be the most valuable thing in your company, in your startup. Just giving you an example of the most basic thing you should be looking at is, for example, this is our company logo. It's a device mark. Now, most of you will not even trademark your device mark. So if someone else infringing your device mark, you could be in legal issues. And most of you were not even able to understand what the difference between device and a word mark is. So they are two separate type of intellectual property that you do need to get your company registered. Your trademark and your device mark and your word mark. Now, using brands to leverage sale. So once your brand become well known, you need to leverage it. How you license it now and how you make most of it now. And many of you guys.
Okay, already something I'm picking up here. So this guy, I say this guy, David Yu, of course. David Yu already showing his understanding of IP, trademarking, etc. Now, one of the reasons why that fully sticks out to me, of course, is that that means, and I understand this from a different point of view, which I'll explain. David Yu is essentially going over the other side of what he's having to try and work with. So, of course, Ecomi has to try and bring in brands to work with VeVe like Pokemon, Disney, Capcom, etc, etc, etc. Now, if you are a genius and if you're a pro of a certain topic, like say IPs, licensing, etc., it's going to make it a whole lot more accessible, easier, etc. to bring in people from the world that you're already aware of. Let me explain. So not long ago, maybe about a year ago, I was really interested in dropshipping, and I was looking at using Facebook ads, Google ads, this, that, and the other to try and figure out how to get certain products in front of people, right? Now, it was very helpful to understand the ad system. You know, I was learning how Google ads worked, mainly learning how Facebook ads work. And of course, when you're doing that, you learn how much you're going to be paying per impression, per this, per that, depending on your campaign, depending on the objective on that campaign itself. Now, for me, it's been really helpful as a content creator, knowing how much certain companies are going to be paying based, of course, on the advertising system that they're working with. If you understand the system that the person who you're trying to work with already works within, then it's a lot easier to essentially reverse engineer, which makes this a very exciting thing. Knowing that David Yu is a pro already within licensing and IPs, he's now obviously working on the other side of trying to buy or at least work with those licenses that he's already worked with before.
Let me give you an example. This is one of the brands that we bought into the company. It's a new product that my company last year launched in the retail group, and basically it's a baby stroller. So this baby stroller actually retails around $120. As the managing director of the company, I sit down with our team and I told the team, we could be in a $120 baby stroller business. Or are we a tech company, or what we're trying to grow, what we're trying to innovate? So I used my network and I bought in the brand Bentley, the vehicle car. Straight away, this brand had lifted a $120 retail price to a $600 to $700 retail price with the same cost of production. Now my company makes $35 million US a year just in this one product into China, Middle East, UK, and all Australasia, including.
Now, again, this is somewhat similar, not the same thing at all, but somewhat similar in how I think to how when you're thinking about designer clothing, for example, obviously it's the logo, it's the culture, it's the community, and it's the value within that community that people are buying. At the end of the day, Supreme clothes are not any more, I don't imagine at least, any more high quality, or maybe they are higher quality, but when you think about how much the profit is versus the production costs, etc., as David was saying here, realistically, slap the logo on and it's worth a lot more.
In Singapore, we just launched just one little thing to change on the brand, onto your product. So think about when you're creating a product, creating your brand, how you can reach your customer and take it to the next stage. Now, most business, all of us have a value in our business, including all the startup. Every single one of you guys in this room, if you're in the business of a startup, you have something that's intangible. It could be, in 1975, intangible asset accounts for about 70% of a corporate's goodwill bottom line. But in today, it's 87%. Most of the large corporates out there has about 87% of their book value is intangible assets. That's how scary it is. And you can have that. Simple things, trade secrets.
Oh, I see.
Pricing strategies. You don't want your competitor to know. These are your trade secret, and they are the most intangible ones. Customer list, system, and know-how. Domain names. As you probably know, recently in the crypto world, there's a domain name sold for multi-million dollars, and that's quite valuable. Register and trademark, which I mentioned before, about your device and your name words. Design and patents. Software and codes, as well as your database. These are just some of the most important intellectual properties that you probably need to understand when you go into it. Because if you don't, you're going to be risking a lot of things. And it could be simply one of your employees' leakage or theft of an intangible asset to your major competitors, or you cannot prove an ownership. A lot of them, as we get into the startup business, we have a lot of co-founders, and you came up with a great idea, you can't prove it. I mean, I can give you one example. So in the gaming business, I basically have a team of network guys who come up with gameplays. One of our employees came to work next day and said, Dave, I tell you, I know what we need to do in the game for the next version, but you need to pay me for it because I thought about it yesterday when I was home, not at work. So you need to understand how you can prove and how you contract your asset to make sure your employees, when they are working for you, not just at work, but at home, that they are in the best interest in your companies. So you need to have proof of ownership as well. Now, do not own brands or brand infringements. A lot of them go out and try to copy one another without thinking about it. So these are little things that will trigger a huge intellectual property issues. Now, I just pulled up a graph here. Are some of the most best global brands in 2000 to 2013. On the left, on your right-hand side, you will see, or your left-hand side, you will see Coca-Cola all the way down to AT&T in the early 2000s. And then you will see a little spectrum. We even have car companies, cigarette company. So what's the top 10 in 2000?
Yo, can I see any of this?
Slowly, you will see in the early 10s, 2010, you see Apple and Google start rising up towards the top.
Show us the graph,
some of the
please.
most important property in the world. Now, let me bring this chart to 2018. Here we go. We got the top 10 most valuable brands in the world. And you will see 80% of the brands over here are all in the technology space.
There we go.
And something quite interesting here is that you see two Chinese firms, Alibaba and Tencent, become a global brand player. Now that shows you something, that the technology is becoming a very important life of our everyday. So we see these brands every day. So what have all these brands in common? You see all these brands on the screen now. They all doesn't exist probably 20, 25 years ago. Now, one of the things that they have in common is very important is this: content. Content will always and still remain to be the king. Now,
content is king back in 2018. You love to see it.
Recently, we all hear about 21st Century Fox. It's a huge content player, traditional media business. But why is this company so important to Disney to offer $71.3 billion? Is because it's content. The content can be rebranded, can be remarketed into different type of medium or franchises to earn revenue. So content is going to be a very strong going forward in our everyday lives.
And we see this with VeVe, right? The content that they are building, well, more so, that's actually the best thing, right? Is that they're obviously building NFT content, but David Yu and obviously the rest of Ecomi clearly understands how important the licensing is for this stuff. You know, a lot of NFTs simply have very little value, you know, maybe sold off, you know, for essentially sold off for resale value as far as the buyer's intention is concerned. But when it comes to licensed NFTs with Disney, etc., Pokemon, etc., Yu-Gi-Oh, etc., this is content, right? That is what is key here.
In digital and our life. Now, I want to walk you through, since we're at the Nifty Comp today, entertainment brands. The top grossing entertainment brand today, number one is Pokemon. It's done over 64 billion in sale. Then we have followed by Star Wars in 1977 has done 44.95 billion. And surprising, Hello Kitty, 41.1 billion, established since 1974. and then you have Harry Potter.
Brilliant. Okay, let's go through this real quick. So Pokemon retail sales, $50 billion, card game 10.2, mobile games, box office, VHS and DVD sales. Then we have merchandise sales. Okay, assuming this is all the same. No, box office, home entertainment, video game, intellectual property, retail sales, music sales. And then we have all these different sort of different sectors, I guess, of their revenue. One thing to keep in mind though is that Pokemon, whilst unconfirmed, is pretty much confirmed at this point. It's very likely, incredibly 100% likely, that they have got Pokemon if they're working with Alfred Kahn. Obviously it's David Yu, he brought Pokemon over to New Zealand, etc. Then we have Star Wars. Star Wars is owned by Disney, of course. Disney is a very likely, we've already looked at this as the fact that we've even seen a Cars teaser as far as the Disney Pixar film. Cars is already on the app. We don't know about Hello Kitty, but my guess is that if we have these two, we likely have this. And then Harry Potter, I can't remember specifically which license that is, but I'm almost certain that we have the license from Harry Potter, depending on who actually owns Harry Potter, which I can't remember, which actually right now I'm going to have a look real quick. Harry Potter licensor. Let's see who owns it. So Harry Potter is licensed by licensingsource.net. So it looks like it's Warner Bros, which of course we do already have Warner Bros on VeVe. So again, very, very likely that we're going to see all of these brands already on VeVe.
One of the things that you must remember, and you see all the other figures you have underneath, are their retail sales, their card game, mobile, their videos, their merchandising. So when you think of a brand, when you think of how you want to monetize your brands, you have to think of different avenue rather than just in blockchain. How are you going to get the mass market adoption for you to be in the space? So these are the top entertainment brand. Now let's look at the top gaming sale brand gross sales. And this is going to be quite surprising. Pokemon actually came first again with 59.1 billion in gross sales in 96. Followed by Super Mario Brothers, which is an old 1981 property. Then you have Call of Duty.
Oh wow, okay.
$16 billion. And also Pac-Man actually made it onto the list. Pac-Man did over $14 billion.
So I'm willing to bet that all of this changed by now, because this is gaming is something I actually am in. Nintendo, not surprised necessarily. Pac-Man, I am actually surprised by that. That's impressive. Call of Duty, I honestly doubt that it's there right now. I feel like Fortnite will be on top of Call of Duty. Although Fortnite has taken a dip, I do think that over 2020, at the very least, Fortnite will have taken over Roblox also. And then there are other games too. Call of Duty is still doing well, and I do believe that we will see Call of Duty in VeVe. I also believe that we're going to see... I think Mario is a bit different. I don't know. I'm hoping, but I think Mario is Nintendo, and those of you who are in gaming may or may not know that Nintendo is very particular, like more particular than most, I would suppose, on their licenses. At the end of the day, though, we do already have Disney most likely, so, you know, anything's possible.
In licensing and gaming rights. So one game might not be very popular or very valuable, but their licensing of their brand can be in every other merchandise. Here we go. Fungible versus non-fungible. All right. Now this slide is kind of, I wasn't sure if anyone in the audience is quite new into this NFT space. So I just made a very simple thing. You know, the fungible is basically having a real $5 cash exchange for a $5 worth of service. And non-fungible is like trading cards. It's only worth as much money as one of you are prepared to willing to pay for it. Now, we're moving into the NFT space now. So let me bring up the next slides. Where are they now and where they can go? Now, in the licensing world, they are all wanting to be in the NFT space. We are working with fashion brands, the toy company, gaming medias, as of today. They all want to be part of this blockchain phenomenon. A lot of these companies have actually employed people to talk about blockchain and to understand about blockchain. So where are we? And when we do a presentation to these brand owner and licensors, where do we talk to them about? So basically I have divided into three main categories. Our current stage, our next stage, and our future. So let's look at the current stage. The problem we have is network processing limited speed. So a lot of the brand owner want to make sure that this thing is here to stay and it's not going to crash. If they load something, they give their IP away, it's going to be there. And this is what we are facing as of today. And I think part of this whole panel, part of the whole blockchain summit everywhere around the world, people are all talking about transaction per second. Number two, brand owners actually don't understand blockchain. So really, we need to educate them. And this is not just the brand owner, this is a lot of the people in the day-to-day life. They are still puzzling and trying to figure out what's happening in this space.
Now, of course, this was done 2 years ago. Now, in my opinion, I do believe that blockchain and crypto is starting to become more understood. It's still obviously not mainstream, I wouldn't say, but we're definitely on our way here. And I'm personally...
But what's happening now?
My bad. I'm really new. I've literally been posting about crypto and blockchain and NFTs for less than 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm still very new, but I've definitely tried to do my best to take strides in my understanding. And to be fair, I think we're doing pretty okay. But definitely this, I think, is something that we're in the middle of still and getting better with, I think.
And what's happening next is is that premium branding are going to be coming on board.
Which we already have at this point with VeVe.
Fashion brands. We're not just talking about NFT in the collectibles. We're not just talking about gaming. We're talking about premium brand want to be on board. We have seen Louis Vuitton, Adidas are already working in the NFT space themselves as well. Then, the first generation of hardware. Now, let me tell you something about my experience in licensing when I talk to brand owners is that if you know Nintendo, Sega, you know Sony, they are in the gaming of console hardware. They still believe the hardware is quite important. So the one that's going to actually win the war and win the hearts of these licenses to have a physical device to store on and something that they can be in touch with. So first generation of hardware is going to be coming out. And then what else is your software going to be able to do? Augmented reality, virtual reality, other aspect of things that are coming on. And we have seen a lot of gaming companies, blockchain company bringing out augmented and other functions to the space. Market consolidation. There will be a market consolidation as the early adopters and early innovator into the blockchain space will basically either run out of money or quite hard to monetize what they are doing and they need to raise money and they'll be consolidated into a bigger team. Then in the 6 to 8 months time coming, we're going to have a much faster processing speed and things will become more mature and then that's where the NFT going to be. We're going to be flying. All right, so it's going to be here to stay. Now, just to introduce you a little bit about Ecomi, what we do. Basically, we're in the hardware manufacturing secure wallet for your devices.
So let's have a look at this real quick. So we have Ecomi Collect. This, I think, was before VeVe. So here we have Tokidoki. We have the processor stuff, I guess, hardware manufacturing secure wallet. Then, of course, we have Tokidoki as an AR thing, which they even see here, content licensing and AR. Then we have marketing, which is global, which I'm assuming is, again, sort of, that's influencer marketing, that's Google ads, Facebook ads. Influencer marketing is a very large thing in itself. Obviously, we have ad networks in general. And then we have distribution, which I want to hear what he has to say about that.
We have a DApp, basically holds the content of the products. And we have content rights to do augmented reality or virtual reality. And we're helping brands to market their games, NFT, into marketing space and distribution throughout. But one of the major bits you see on the left corner is the protocol. It's something that it's going to be puzzling. And that's something that we are trying to connect, is that what is the best use for us and for everyone in this space. So I have a couple more minutes left. So I wanted to leave you this thought, and it's quite important. 4 feet 8.5 inches. This number might not mean a lot to you guys, but this number have actually been in our life in every day. Because back in the old days, in the ancient time, in the Roman time, in the medieval time, they don't actually measure things in centimeters. They measure things in either horses that they recognize with, their hands, their feet. So that's why they have 4 feet. And what is 4 feet, 8.5 inches? It's basically the measurement of 2 horses' bum, in this case. And why is this 2 horses' bum so important? Because it was a way in the early 1800s how they fixed the war chariot from the medieval time onto the chariot, onto the track. That's how transportation was done. That track measured 4 feet, 8.5 inches, was brought in 1800s, 1900s, 2000, and to today, even electric. So blockchain is here to stay. So please, whatever you guys do, gentlemen and ladies, please, we are going to be here forever. So when we create something, think of long term. Think what is going to happen in 300 years' time. People are going to recognize that. We are making the history in the making in this blockchain disruption space. So I hope really, whatever you guys are building, you bring this and put this into your heart and think of this story. Thank you.
We're not done yet.
Any questions? Yes, Jordy.
That was a really great presentation.
Thank you.
Can you put the Bentley back up on the
Yeah, sure. I can put it back up. Can we put it back up?
I'd love to see the Bentley again.
Yeah. It's a product that we brought out last year. And honestly,
Can I just ask you a question about
yes.
How did you get Bentley to put their name on it?
Okay. This is something that I worked on in 21 years in gaming and licensing. Every day I work with brands and licenses. Brand and licenses work very different than how we think, as same as engineers and business people, because the architecture of how we think are very, very different. How I convince them is we understand the economic metric of what they're going to be earning, and for the target market they're going to reach in the spectrum. And they want to be in the luxury market, and most important is that they want to know how they can advertise their brand through different mediums and different products.
Right.
The problem with Bentley is that they think this product, most people will probably think this product is a 15 to 2,000 retail item. They want to think everyone in this room can own a Bentley branded product. So we put it on, so it is actually got full stitchings, full letter C, and on top of this, I didn't actually design this. Bentley designed this. Okay? So we didn't actually just got Bentley to license for us. We got their team who makes car to design this 6-in-1. So it actually eventually folds down and becomes a tricycle. So it's for age from 10 months to 36 months. So this is a very good success story of how a brand can utilize into another product. Thank you.
So my understanding there is that essentially, and I'm obviously Bentley, they would have had certain people working there at the time that were thinking in a certain way that made this make sense, of course, and realistically, they wouldn't have just thrown the Bentley logo on another car. My guess is they wouldn't even throw it on a soft drink, you know? Maybe my guess is that essentially they saw an opportunity with what looks like a pram slash bike thing, I guess. And they figured, okay, this is a market that we're not in right now, and this is something that we could also do really well in. That's my guess.
And we're doing that into the blockchain.
Because there's no point in like David, you going to Bentley and saying, yo, I've got a car here that like looks pretty normal, want to slap a logo on. They're going to laugh him out the room most likely. Same thing as if, you know, just some random sugary drinks company wants to put a Bentley logo on there. Why the hell would they do that? But I suppose when it makes sense, it makes sense. And that's what we're seeing, I think, with VeVe NFTs, is that it makes sense. You know, there are no companies, or not very many companies at the very least, who already have the trust of you know, having, you know, let's put it this way, if VeVe approaches Disney and they already have Viacom CBS, they already have Cartoon Network, or which is already Viacom CBS, if they already have DC and all that sort of stuff, it's a lot easier to get others involved, because it's like, okay, well, this is the marketplace that we want to be involved in.
space right now. So hopefully that we will be as genius as this in the blockchain. And we're coming up with some phenomenal, and we got some major, huge news coming out in the next couple of weeks in the blockchain space.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's quite important to learn a lot of these lessons in the blockchain space. So the question that I have is around interfaces. And I don't know if you showed it before, the actual interface for your hardware wallet and how it interacts with the AR. But I'm curious about how you think about the experiential interface for NFTs. Obviously you're already on the front lines of doing it. So how do you think about how we as consumers or we as kind of asset holders can push the boundaries of experiencing NFTs so that it's not just, okay, well, here's my website, here's my wallet, here's my NFT.
Yeah, number one is for NFT to be mature into the market, the user base, the consumer will not even know they're using blockchain. For start is that we need to start thinking outside how we want to proceed. When we first started to go into licensed companies, we talk about blockchain to them quite often. Oh, we're putting in blockchain. They don't actually understand. They just want to know how it's being distributed and how the contents will not be ripped off. And answering your question is the user interface needs to be pretty much seamless in the sense of when you make a payment, to purchase a good, to utilize it. We have to think of how a gaming company like Nintendo or Sega or Sony does it. When you put a disc into it while it's spin, you don't want to know that's written in C++, or whatever language. You want to be seamlessly into the game. And now a lot of these games are now streaming live online. And one of the major things is, apart from the beauty of the NFT space and the blockchain space, is that how we can take the content out and to be reused in another game or redistributed into another form or media. And this will be tested in the coming years. It is issue eventually where this market will need to be in.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, well, that was brilliant. Only half an hour, which is short for the other stuff that we're going to be looking at, because we're also going to be looking at Vayner X, marketing for now, Gary Vee, not right now to be very clear, it's for a different video, but we're going to be looking at what some of Mark Cuban has to say, and also what some of Tom Bilyeu has to say about NFTs, because I believe that this is a 2-hour podcast, literally all about NFTs. I'm probably going to make this into like maybe 3 or 4 videos, but I really wanted to see what David Yu was speaking about here, because I've been told that this is a gem to watch. And of course, we've seen a number of really important licenses, Pokemon, Call of Duty, I'm trying to find them right now, Pokemon, Call of Duty, Yu-Gi-Oh, etc. Now, the fact that David Yu, like I say, understands the reverse of who he's trying to essentially work with by, himself being a licenser, and the fact that he's brought Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh to, essentially his home country, it's really interesting to see what he might be able to do, what he is able to do with VeVe. And honestly, all these brands, I'd be very surprised if we don't see them in the VeVe universe anytime soon. So, when people ask me, why am I not worried about this? Because I'm not trying to day trade any of this. This is what it is for right now. Honestly, if you want to take advantage of it, by all means, I'm not a financial advisor though, and I'll never be giving financial advice out. But of course, this is where it is right now, and you can either take advantage of it or you don't have to if you don't believe in it. But that being said, let me know if this video was interesting to you. If it was, like, sort of appreciated. And also, I am on Twitter very constantly. I'm at ZakiZoo. I've actually recently been tweeting about a statement of I've actually been tweeting about Viacom CBS, who of course does work with VeVe. I mean, they put out a somewhat dumb or not so smart maybe article in my opinion, but then we also spoke about obviously VeVe collectibles regarding obviously the Batmobile and other things like that. So if you want to be kept up happening on that, at ZakiZoo, as I said. That being said, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.